What is up, you guys? This is Mini Superheroes Today.
Hey guys, you know I'm the biggest LEGO Indiana Jones fan on the internet, so in today's video, I'll be showing you how to build every single main character from Raiders of the Lost Ark using 100% official LEGO parts and pieces. Now that LEGO Indiana Jones is back for 2023, we have tons of new pieces to use, which lets us upgrade old figures and build figures that LEGO didn't make in the first line of sets, or the new line for that matter. With that being said, if LEGO does any future Indiana Jones sets, know that this was made right after the April 1st, 2023 wave came out, so I'm only using pieces that are available as of this time. With that being said, let's get into the video and show you how to make everybody you see here, plus more. As with every showcase, we start at the beginning of the movie and work our way forward, so let's take a look at the new Indiana Jones for 2023. I didn't make any updates here because right out of the box this thing is basically perfect. You'll notice that the version from the Temple of the Golden Idol has the webs on one side of his face with a spider crawling on his head, and then the other side is the regular Indiana Jones smirk we got in the other sets. I, of course, gave him the idol from the set, and he's got printed legs, which are really nice, but no upgrades can really be made here because he's pretty much perfect. Up next, we have Sapito, who, of course, is the guide through the Temple of the Golden Idol, played by Alfred Molina, and I didn't make any updates here. I think the figure right out of the box looks pretty great. Love the tarantulas on his back and the reversible head. It's just a great figure, and there's not really too much we could add. I mean, sure, we could give him a backpack or whatever, but then you cover up that great tarantula print, so let's leave him as is. Once we get out of the temple, we meet Belloq outside, and the upgrade I made here is using these dual-molded legs with the printing from the outdoor character. He's this guy, like the hiker-camper character, and I think that looks pretty good to add a little color. The only thing you'll want to do is flip the hips around, because if you leave those hips up front, it kind of looks like he has two belts on, and that doesn't really make sense, so putting these legs like that looks pretty darn good. Outside, we also meet the Jovitos Warriors. Unfortunately, the Temple of the Golden Idol only gives us one of these figures, but there's so much printing and detailing on it that I really don't know how we could upgrade it. So I want to army build and get maybe 4 or 5 of these, but for right now, this figure's awesome. We officially have our first throwback character, Jock Lindsay, of course, who flies Indy out of the way and saves the day pretty much. So to build him, I used the original torso from Jock Lindsay from 2008, but other than that, it's all modern parts to kind of update him and help him look a little bit better. The head comes from Robin from the Lego Batman movie. I gave him a dark blue hat. These dual-molded arms come from Finn from Lego Dimensions Adventure Time. I guess I kept the legs the same, but those are pretty generic, and I gave him the old snake for Reggie. Now, I do happen to have 2 Jock Lindsay minifigs, so just so you can see side by side the upgrades that were made, I definitely think it's a lot more modern and accurate looking, so I'm happy with the way this one turned out. At this point in the movie, we meet Marcus Brody for the first time. So to build him, I used the torso from Lex Luthor from the LEGO DC sets. Just wanted to give him a nice regal suit. And yeah, I guess his suit is kind of like more of a gray color in the movie, but for right now, I think that this works pretty well. The head comes from the Doctor from LEGO Doctor Who, and I gave him some flat brown hair to kind of give him like a little bit younger look than giving him gray hair, but not too old at the same time. So I wasn't really sure how to balance that, but I do think it looks pretty good in the end. Here we have Marion Ravenwood from the bar scene. Now, this figure I think turned out really good. The cool thing about it too is it uses the 2023 Marion Ravenwood head, so it's still Marion, and the torso is actually Marion's torso from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I like that we kind of have a little theme going here. Of course, I switched out the arms so that the kind of like khaki color matches. Then she's got dark khaki legs, which also come from that same figure. And then we have a couple more throwback pieces here. To get that kind of like green scarf she's wearing, I gave her this hood. I believe it came from Lego City, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong. And then I gave her the hair that they used on her minifigure in the video game, because the long hair that we're going to use on Marion a little later won't fit over that hoodie piece. So I like that it throws back to the old days with the torso and the hair, and the new days with the head. Now, of course, she's got her Staff of Ra medallion in her hand, and this is just a 1x1 rounded piece with a Sharpie dot in the middle to represent what it looks like. So, yes, it does break the purist method, but come on, it's just a Sharpie dot. It's okay to push the rules a little bit every now and then, don't you agree? Up next, we have Arnold Toht. Fun fact, they never say Toht's name in the movie, so the only way we knew his name back in the day was from the Kenner toys. Kinda interesting. Anyways, for this, I went ahead and used the Shanghai Gangster hat and torso and just some black legs, and the head comes from George Costanza from Lego Seinfeld. Now, that being said, I believe somebody on Instagram did this before me. Like, I have a vague recollection that I saw it at some point, so if that was you and you can prove it, let me know and I'll pin a comment. But, yeah. Anyways, I always try to give credit where credit's due. I just feel like I saw this somewhere, and it's not a completely original idea. I just don't remember where, so let me know and I'll give you credit if it's you. So by this point of the movie, we are now in Cairo, which means we've got the Indy without his jacket on. And for this, I used the same legs, hat, and head combo from the new 2023 Indiana Jones. But of course, he's got his gun, his whip, his satchel, and the original torso from the 2009 wave of Indiana Jones sets from the Ambush in Cairo. I think it looks really, really good when it's all put together. No back printing back in the day, but still, it does look great. Similar for Marion, we're using the 2023 head and hair combo with the original torso and just red legs from the Ambush in Cairo Marion from 2009. It's pretty amazing how well a lot of those 2008, 2009 Indiana Jones prints have held up over the years. I mean, of course, the new ones are better, but for characters like this where we didn't get an updated outfit, it is pretty good all these years later. Of course, at this point, we meet Sallah for the first time in the franchise, and it's really, really awesome that we finally got him as a Lego minifig in 2023 because he was not in the original waves back in the day. Now, the current minifig from the new waves does not have printed legs, so I gave him Jedi Master Luke Skywalker's legs from The Last Jedi. That way you get a lot of the white and tan robe printing that really matches that torso great. Now, that 2009 Ambush in Cairo set gave us just a regular Cairo goon and the iconic Cairo swordsman. Now, these worked pretty well. It's kind of crazy he got back printing and Indiana Jones didn't, but regardless, I don't think there's really too much we need to upgrade on these because they both looked pretty good right out of the box. Just to show you what he looked like without that head wrap on, that's the figure. To build Indy in his map room outfit, this one was actually pretty simple. This head wrap piece came from the old Prince of Persia sets from back in the day. The head is the new Indiana Jones head, and the torso and legs are actually Farm Boy Luke. I think that those work pretty well for what we're trying to achieve here. And of course, the staff is really, really tall in the movie, so I used a brown pole with a dark brown telescope piece there. Then, of course, we've got a 1x1 clip and the Staff of Ra we talked about earlier, which is a 1x1 round stud with a little Sharpie in the center to give it just a little bit of detail. But I love the way that this one turned out, and I think it's a pretty good representation. For Belloq's desert attire, this was a little bit tricky because his suit that he has is a lot of, like, white and tan, and there's not really a lot of Lego pieces that translate well to that, so the look I went for is the one from when he's in the tent with Marion, where he's just a little bit more casual. I suppose if you don't have the John Hammond torso, which I used here, you could use the Han Solo torso. I think that would work too, but I do think the John Hammond torso is a little bit more accurate for what we're trying to go for, but of course that means he's got the white legs, the Belloq head from 2023, and the receding hairline up top to bring it all together. Here we have Indiana Jones from the Well of Souls. Now, you may think that this is the exact same figure as the Temple of the Golden Idol, but that's not exactly true. Here he has his adventurer gloves on, which he does wear in this scene of the movie, and this does have a different head. We've got kind of a confused look on one side, and then the classic Harrison Ford smirk on the other. I didn't make any upgrades to this figure because he's one of those ones that's just perfect out of the box, but I did want to include him here since we're going chronologically. Now that we're in the Well of Souls, we of course have Marion Ravenwood in her dress that Belloq gives her. So this does look pretty good. This is right out of the box, no changes made. Of course, this time around I am showing you her reverse side of the head where she's screaming, and she's got her little torch here, but the only thing I could really suggest is, like, if you wanted to give her the non-torn version, you know, because she, like, tears her dress to light the torch, you could just give her regular white legs, but that's not really much of an upgrade. I'm just saying you could do that if you wanted to, for some reason. This is a figure that really only had one change, but oh my gosh, did it add a lot of detail. This, of course, is the German mechanic that Indy fights out by the flying wing, one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. And of course, I used the torso and head from the original German mechanic, but I gave him these super detailed legs from the Nature Explorer girl from the collectible minifigure series. That way you get a belt printing, the cargo pants that have the pockets on the sides that look great, and those big brown boots. I don't know, I just think that this looks literally perfect, and I'm thrilled with the way it turned out. Indy does, of course, get a German disguise at one point, and to do that, he's got like a green hat, green, shirt on and all that, and according to the Kenner action figure, he also had green pants. So what I did is I used the Soviet figures from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull line of sets. Luckily, those are really easy to get because there's a lot of them out there, and I just put the 2023 Indy head on that. Now, the 2008 and 2009 Indiana Jones sets came with a lot of German soldiers. Of course, these are representing Nazis, which is a little awkward for LEGO to have to explain, but hey, it exists and it is accurate to the movie, so it is what it is, right? So, yeah, you could change out the heads for more like modern heads, like, First Order Specialist heads or whatever, but there is a certain charm to the originals, and they are video game accurate, so I always like to pay honor to that. Then, of course, the original Ark of the Covenant is much nicer than the new one, unfortunately, so I do suggest trying to hunt down the original Ark of the Covenant to add to your Indiana Jones collection here. And finally, we have Belloq in his ceremonial robes. Now, he does look kind of funny, but I do think it worked out pretty well in the end. He's got a chef's hat, the 2023 Belloq head. The torso comes from, I think it's like a lumberjack guy or something from the collectible minifigure series, but of course we're going to flip that torso around. He's got a brown neck stud here with a 1x1 flat plate with like some Star Wars printing on it, and then the legs come from the waiter kid from the collectible minifigure series, like the diner person. So yeah, that brings this showcase to a close, so let's zoom out and I'll give you my final thoughts on everything we saw here. Alright guys, let me know what you think of these customs in the comments down below. Stay tuned because I'll be revisiting the Temple of Doom and the Last Crusade before too terribly long, as well as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a little closer to the movie, and of course the Dial of Destiny will get its own showcase when that comes out too. Be sure to hit like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any of those, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.